about that for a minute. He tells you that hell is actually not even real. It's actually a virtual world created by Soline Solux. Do I even need to explain all the problems that causes? All the things in the game that would make even less sense because hell is a virtual world. Actually, forget all the serious continuity errors that just blew up in your face because you actually face the devil in this virtual hell who's actually being controlled by Soline Solux's mind, who by her own admission is all-knowing in her virtual world.
If that's the case, why didn't she ever close the portals to hell when we were knee-deep in it? This game wasted 8.5 hours of my life, and I bet you want to see the end, don't you? Oh, yeah, you do. Yeah, well, allow me to prep you. You fight Soline Solux after she kills Rachel, and I promise, I did not edit one single piece of this footage.
Give it up, Gideon. Relinquish your soul to me. It's God's will, brother. And these are God's hands. This is almost as easy as having to do away with your little girlfriend. But I must admit, it won't give me nearly as much pleasure.
You bastard! God's will be done.
Oh my God.
Take it easy, baby. It's all effect. Trust me, you don't feel a thing, like falling off a log. Let me just go talk to this one actor over here. He's hamming it up as much as his part of it. You know, some performers you just gotta stroke all the time. Pamper, stroke. That's all I do around here. Be right back, baby.
Oh yeah, it's Halloween. I love this time of year. You get to dress up, you get all the candy you can eat, and plenty of monster movies to watch on the television set. So to commemorate this night, we're going to play 2 somewhat obscure Monster NES games. First up, Monster in My Pocket, which was a pretty successful franchise for a while. It had its own cartoon, comic books, trading cards, and who could forget the toys. So it starts up and apparently you can choose between a vampire or the monster from Frankenstein. Let's go with the monster. The story is pathetic. From what I gather, there's this warlock who simply tells you that he sent out his henchmen while you were watching TV. Okay, sent them out to do what? This warlock guy never tells you what his plans are, where they're going, or what he wants from you in the first place. The main heroes, or monsters in this case, just simply take off as if they know where they're going. It feels like we're missing a huge amount of the cutscenes from the story. For all they know, he could be sending out his henchmen just to get matching snuggies. I mean, I'll be honest, I've never seen this show, so as a newcomer, I can't help but wonder what this warlock guy would be after anyway. Clearly, you can see the scale of the monsters compared to everything else in the game. I have no choice but to assume they're in our world considering everything is so huge. And if that's the case, how threatening can you be when you're the size of a f***ing quarter? Holy franken, I can't breathe in that thing. Much better. Alright, enough with the story. Let's just get to the game. Well, I can tell you the controls are pretty damn good. You can double jump and you can move pretty fluently.
You have this short little attack, but it serves its purpose. Remember when it was considered cool to lug around a boombox? I always thought it would be way cooler if you could carry around a Nintendo for your tunes.
Hey, what's up, motherfucker? Check this out, man. I got a new track this morning. You're gonna dig this, man. You're gonna dig this. Ready? Oh, yeah, man. Check out the pelvis action. Check out the pelvis. Yeah, the pelvis make you go, oh, oh. Pelvis make you go, oh, oh.
Well, I found a key. Can I pick it up? Yes, I can. Do I take it somewhere? Well, apparently I can throw it, which takes out the enemies better than my normal attack. Speaking of which, all of the enemies are your basic monsters. You got zombies, hunchbacks, witches, skeletons, you know, the usual lineup. Yeah, I still have this key. I've been all over the level looking for some kind of door to open and I've found nothing. Oh, great, I just lost it. Now I'm fighting the first boss. And after beating him, I still move on to the next stage. So what was the point of carrying the key all over the place?
Just to waste my... You done?
I know the main attraction in the game is the idea that you're tiny and you're jumping on and around everyday objects. But wouldn't it be more enjoyable if you were actually interacting with the environment? Like maybe kick over the apple, turn on the faucet, throw food you find in the fridge, or maybe just break into Malibu Barbie's house and start sleeping with Ken's wife? Now that would be a great game. Driving around in a pink Corvette and killing monsters. I mean, if you really stop and think about it, it's just a gimmicky background. They may as well just be basic platforms, and when you look at it that way, you have no power-ups. It's just the same attack over and over. It doesn't even matter if you choose the vampire either, because it's the same attack with no variety. So if you get right down to it, this is a pretty basic game with not much to do. Not a bad game, but not a good one either. It's time for the main event, Monster Party. So apparently you're this kid who notices what he thinks is a star in the sky, which lands in front of him and turns out to be a monster from another world. The kid asks him who he is, and the monster tells him his name is Bert. Not exactly a very threatening or imposing name, is it? I mean, what if Dracula's real name was Bob? Yeah, it doesn't exactly have the same effect, does it? But what's up with this kid? A monster just landed in front of him and he just acts like it's not a big deal. This has to be the most desensitized kid ever. If it were me, my poop would shit its pants. Well, Bert tells this kid that there's monsters on his planet and needs help fighting them and decided this kid with this bat was the route to go. Really? So there's a planet filled with monsters just like himself, mind you, and of all the threatening people on Earth, he chose to reveal himself to a kid with a stick? You know we have guns, right? Missiles, grenades, Dexter. And the funny thing is it gets weirder. The kid doesn't even say yes, and the monster just brings them along anyway and then tells them that they have to fuse together. Like, seriously, what the hell am I playing? Is it just me, or does it seem really, really wrong? It feels like we're one step away from a camp counselor going, "Hey kid, I have candy, get in the van." Yeah, great title card. Got blood and crap everywhere. It's for kids, folks. Alright, so I'm just gonna try out the controls. What is that good for? You know, considering how the game started, that is quite a sight. Although I will admit it would actually be a pretty amazing talent to be able to propel yourself forward while humping the floor.
Not going anywhere. This isn't working.
Everything in this game is really weird. You have happy face blocks, Bruce Lee on fire, and look at this! Some guy's ass is just sticking out of the platform. Is he a good guy that I'm supposed to save? Nope, he hurts you if you touch him. So the ass is sticking out of the platforms and just there for me to hit? Think that's weird? Well, right before you beat up on the first pair of defenseless ass cheeks, there's this door, and if you go inside, there's a plant that says, "Hello, baby," and starts shooting bubbles at you. This is where you learn you can use your bat to hit things back at the enemies. But this plant takes so many hits to kill doing this that you'll more than likely kill your thumb before you ever move on. Question mark. What did that do? A couple bad guys later, I found another door, so I started thinking I had to fight another boss, but guess what? This one's empty. 1. Why does it bother telling you the obvious? And 2. Why bother having an empty room in the game? Oh, but it doesn't stop there. Once again, I kill a couple more bad guys and yet another door. I go inside, and there's a spider, and he's dead. Or I guess he wasn't dead just yet. Apparently it was considered enough to save his last breath just to tell me what would happen 2 seconds from now. And the level of strange has still not reached its maximum potential because I walked away from the door and then this happened. What in Bugs Bunny's bushy ass just happened? Look at all this evil twisted crap! Again! For kids! So I started thinking, why waste my time? So I decided to skip the rest of the doors and just try to make it to the end of the level, which I did, and I found this one door that I can't seem to go in. What the hell? Then I noticed there's a little box at the bottom that says key. Well, obviously I need a key, which means I have to go in every single door until I find it. So I head all the way back and go through any of the doors that I think I might have missed. And on the way, I killed this skinless dog that dropped the pill on the ground. I grabbed the pill, and then I turned into Bert, which makes me more powerful. I can fly, and now I have the ability to shoot things. So remember, kids, swallow crap you find on the floor. Anyway, I finally find one of the doors I hadn't gone in, only to be greeted by a pumpkin-headed guy who begs you not to pick on him. Which, if you end the dialogue box, he tries to kill you anyhow. You beat him, he gives you the key, and now you can go through that door. The real question is, do you really want to? Because if you do, the weird crap keeps on coming. I mean, look at this stuff. What is that, a fish head with fingers for legs? You, of course, get your continued share of empty rooms, but then check this one out. What am I fighting? A shrimp? Now an onion ring? And of course, now it's a kebab. The last boss of the level gives you the key, and it's the most obvious boss of them all. You fight a wishing well that shoots dinner plates at you. Why are you shocked? Getting into the third stage, the first thing I notice is I'm pink now. Why? Did Bert undress me? Other than that, more empty rooms, a guy who tells you his legs are asleep before attacking you, and killer bat umbrellas. Moving on. Fourth stage, rocks that don't die, empty rooms, a guy that tells you he's a slowpoke, and a kitty cat in a box. Next. For the fifth stage, I found an anomaly in gaming. A boss that asked me to watch his dance. So naturally, when the dialogue box disappeared, I expected him to attack me. He didn't. In fact, every time I hit these two guys, they would just keep popping back up, and they will never die. Now, before I continue, everybody has their own opinion on what the easiest boss in a video game is. Most commonly, people usually pick Dracula from Castlevania Simon's Quest, where you simply have to hit him with fire, and it prevents Dracula from even touching you. You can all shut up now, because I found the easiest boss in existence. You simply stand still while they dance, and then they die. Half-Bit wins. Stage 6 sucks. It's a maze of doors, and trust me, it sucks. Nothing ticked me off as much as the final stage. I went through every door and beat every boss, only to end up at the last door and still not have it open. What did I miss? I did everything. Then I noticed from the start point, I can actually walk to the left, and you'll find another door. Now that doesn't seem like a big deal, but none of the other levels work like that, so it was easy to miss. The worst part was this is easily the hardest boss in the game, and it drains your health easier than anything else. So when you do manage to beat him, the best thing you can do for yourself is to continue killing these dynamite sticks floating on clouds until they give you parts that replenish your health. Once you're filled up enough, then continue with the rest of the level, and you'll finally get the key that opens that damn door. You know, considering how strange everything is in this game, I wonder what the final boss is going to be. Maybe a two-headed Lindsay Lohan surviving on the soul of Jimmy Hoffa that shoots out used needles. Oh, it's just a big fat face. So, after you beat the game, Bert gives you a box with a hooker inside, she turns into a monster, and you wake up because it was all just a dream. That is, until you open the door to leave for school and find Bert who whispers creepy shit into your ear. The end.
I don't even know what to say. I've played some weird games in my day. Happy Halloween.
off more than the Karate Kid growing up. But since it was a part of my original collection, I have a lot of nostalgic memories for it. Karate Kid for the NES was part of the original group of games my family picked out on that amazing night at Toys R Us. Well, let me clarify that statement. I picked it out. I was a huge fan of the movies, and for crying out loud, it's about karate. It's gotta be good, right? Who doesn't want to be Ralph Macchio going around kicking ass? No, just forget about all that, because this game is a picky, whiny little baby that only lets you kick ass when it feels like it. In fact, most of the time you'll be begging for mercy in a world that doesn't even offer it. And you know what the funny thing is? This isn't the type of game I've been trying to beat for 20-some years. No, I tried for months when I was around the age of 10, but I had to quit because of how insane this game was making me. This game bullied me through my childhood and left me waking up in cold sweats throughout my life. So after 22 years, it's my turn. The first stage is basically the tournament portion of the first movie in the series. No running away from bullies wearing skeleton outfits, no training montages with Miyagi, no bonsai trees, no romance stuff, just guys wearing gis that run toward you. Your first instinct in a game like this is to start trying all of your moves to figure out what all you can do, but this game doesn't even give you a chance. Immediately, all of the enemies just run at you without any warning, giving you no time to prepare. The funny thing is you don't exactly need to do much. You can try jumping all over the place with punches and kicks, but ultimately the only good tactic here is to stand perfectly still and just hit your kick button. If you touch any other buttons, you will get your ass handed to you. For the second stage, you'll go into the side-scroller mode, which is basically the bulk of the game. It plays pretty similar to a classic title called Kung Fu. A lot of the control scheme is pretty similar, but the moves aren't nearly as effective. Just like with the first stage, you'll notice right away the only real effective move you have is your basic kick. Now along the way you'll find C and D icons, which stand for Drum Punch and Train Kick. These are your special moves, which are shown by the move counter on the top right. Even though there is a counter for these moves, it's not exactly easy to save these for later moments in the game. In this regard, it's due to the bad controllers. If you're standing still and hit B, you kick. However, if you happen to have one Train Kick special and you hit B, you'll do a Train Kick. So if you want to save this move for, say, the boss at the end of a level, you can never hit B alone when fighting the other enemies. Instead, you have to hold forward and hit B on every enemy in the game in order for you to save your special move. Same goes for punching. So if you have any interest in saving what you've earned for the end, you're constantly holding forward on the controller. And just to make it worse, to jump, you press up. Now referring back to Kung Fu, just like in that game, you also have to press up to jump. The only difference is that jumping didn't come into play every 2 seconds. So Karate Kid for the NES wears on your thumb pretty quick. Oh, and I haven't even mentioned the bonus stages. Scattered through these levels, you'll find doors that'll lead to bonus stages that are designed for you to gather special moves and points. As a kid, I hated these. Everyone I knew used to swear up and down that it would be easier to do these in real life. Now that I'm older, let's test this theory. Nope.
From there.
Nope. Who designed this stage? I've had nightmares about this specific part of the game, and still to this day, the very image of that swinging hammer makes me want to punch myself in the bonsai tree. I get it. They took some training sequences from the movies, but there's no warning or indication on how to do this. After all these years, I still don't understand how this works. The very few times I've managed to survive 1 or 2 passes, I'm still not exactly sure what I did. I mean, I'm kind of moving forward, and at the last second, I moved the D-pad in the opposite direction while pressing A. Sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. In some cases, I get too carried away, and I'll end up walking right off the platform. In the end, what does it really amount to? Special moves? You mean those things I accidentally waste all the time because the controls were obviously designed by a microwave? I would give you the advice of never going in any of the doors, but since you have to hit up the jump, which just so happens to be the same control you have to hit just to get inside one of these doors, it's pretty much a given. You're going to accidentally run into a bonus stage just from jumping all over the place. Oh, but that is not what pissed me off about this game, if you can believe that. It was all about the third stage. Oh yeah, it is all coming back to me now. It's supposed to be the typhoon scene from Karate Kid 2, which is why you're constantly being forced back by the wind, and of course, you have a million things flying at you. This is where your enemies really start to be a problem. In the second stage, it's really not that bad. It's pretty simple just to walk up and kick your opponent and continue moving on. On this typhoon stage, you're being forced back and constantly getting hit by everything in sight, which pushes you backward even further. It's almost as if you become part of a pinball machine. Look at this! Look! Oh, look at this one! I just want to get up to the top and these birds are kicking my ass! Birds! What really drives the point home is the fact that you're surrounded by pits. You are pretty much guaranteed to be bounced in one of these holes. This stage single-handedly caused a habit in myself where when I got angry at games like this, I would punch the hell out of my legs while I was seated in front of the TV. And guess what? Half-Bit-San still has this habit. You, Mr. Miyagi. Once you reach the end, you fight Chosen and save the girl. Now, for the final stage, every once in a blue moon, as a kid, I would make it to the last level. I usually didn't last very long, considering all my lives were usually used up in the typhoon stage. All of your enemies now take 2 hits, which is fine, but what always ended my life quickly were these bastards with these spears. When they hit you, you stay forced back the entire time until you're able to get a good kick or punch in. I hated these things because it was usually the last thing I saw before a game over screen. See, the only way I'm going to be able to beat this is to somehow figure out a way past these guys. But you know what I realized? I never noticed this as a kid, but what's the one thing in common with all of these levels? 2 guys. There's always 2 bad guys on the screen at once at any given moment. So my plan is to somehow get in front of these guys and just have them chase me. And guess what? It worked. Look at these bastards chase me. After what the game puts you through, I don't even feel cheap. From here, it's just a nice jog to the finish line. The final battle takes place on a platform where you just simply kick them in the face, and I finally get to see the ending of this game. It better be epic. Totally worth it. This game, I don't want to play this game. I don't want to play this game. Why can't you just leave me alone? I have been avoiding this moment my whole life. The descent into platforming manhood. Often regarded as one of the toughest games out there, Kid Chameleon. So before we get started, a word of warning. It's gonna get loud. Before we even get into the game, we should first discuss the story because it's pretty serious. Basically, there's this arcade that has a new game called The Wild Side, which is supposed to make some virtual world for the player which apparently is real and according to the box, is a kid eater. No. We're playing a game about a game that makes a game out of the fatalities of children. Mind has been blown. This image is so 90s. Let's start with the obvious because it's pretty much a given we're going to be occasionally referencing the Mario Brothers. This green dinosaur-looking thing at the beginning may as well be a Goomba or a Koopa Troopa. Can I hit the blocks with my head and crap comes out like in Mario Brothers? Why, yes I can. However, instead of coins, we get diamonds. Does each level end with a flag? Well, of course it does. Now, the other big nod to the Super Mario Bros. Franchise is the fact that you do get different suits, like in Mario Bros. 3, through the use of hats that drop down. As far as the similarities between the two, that's pretty much it. You're probably wondering if the controls are similar, but I can definitely tell you they're trying. The controls are stiff as If you've ever developed a really good skill set for playing Mario 3, for example, you'll notice right away that you don't have the kind of precision with your character that made you feel like you were in complete control. Here, the jumping feels flat and the movement among the platforms feels dreadfully slippery. Does that make the game bad? Surprisingly, no. In some weird way, after a while, you do start to adjust to it. Now, what the hell do I do here? Since I destroyed the block that looked like I could have used it to get up out of this area, I started jumping all over the place looking for hidden blocks, which I did find several of them. Only one problem, none of them helped me. I'm literally jumping in every spot to find a way out of here. When ducking, it kind of looks like there's something down there, but when I search around, I don't find any hidden areas. Wait, what the hell? I can climb the wall with this suit? How would you ever guess that? Think about what I'm wearing. It's a knight's helmet, which if you noticed before, the whole point of it is that it weighs me down enough that I can break blocks with my feet. So can you really blame me for not figuring that out before? You can't climb walls with any other suit. Oh, but the one that weighs me down, that's the one that lets me climb stuff. That's like putting 200 more pounds on Batman, and somehow that makes him move faster. The logic here is astounding. To top it off, the control for climbing the wall sucks. You have to tap the C button all the way to the top. It's not like you can jump to the wall and you're suddenly stuck to it. You literally have to start from the very bottom or it won't work at all. Aside from that complete BS, the first handful of stages really aren't that bad. But if you're paying close attention, you'll notice that these beginning stages are starting to give fairly subtle hints on the pile of hell that's coming your way. Did you see that? Suicide dive! There was no way for me to know an enemy was going to be sitting right there. And those diamonds you can't jump on. Now you're probably thinking, wait a minute, Half-Bit, I saw you ducking before, so I know you can look down below. You're right, I was doing that before. The difference is the clock has less time on it as the levels move on and a lot more to do in the level itself. That means you don't have time to just look around. You have to hurry your ass to the finish line or you're going to die. And yes, there are clocks all over the place that give you additional time. The problem is there's actually a lot of stages that don't have any clocks on them at all, and you're never sure which ones do have them. So again, it only cements the fact that you can't mess around. You have to have your physical gaming prowess going sky high. Wait, I'm stuck? Oh, come on! Damn it! This stage really pissed me off. I never found any clocks, and they barely give you enough time to finish it if you make any mistakes or take any time to explore. What really burns up your time are these sections where you have to touch the first set of blocks to blow up the next set. You have to do it right because your suit won't destroy them, which also means you have to know how to do it for each section so you don't waste any of your time. With the first section, you can just do it from the platform closest to them, but in the second, you have to do it from the first platform or you'll screw it all up. There is a teleporter at the bottom if you do mess up, which resets the whole thing, but it's totally pointless because it doesn't reset the clock, which means you wasted too much time and you're better off dead. How about instead of having these teleporters that reset everything but the clock, you just not obstruct the only way through, or better yet, remove the f***ing clock!
Beating this game would be like beating Chuck Norris at a thumb war while a baby chihuahua was munching on your nards as Paula Deen was feeding you prairie oysters that you just cooked off of Satan's ass after he finished a 2-hour workout on an elliptical.
Oh, and if you think the pressure isn't enough, there are actually several levels that add this nice little element of terror, and it just goes on and on. That's the other thing that makes this game so challenging, is just the sheer length. There's all kinds of secret ways to make it through, but you never know how far along you actually are. And to make it worse, there's no save feature. None. No passwords, no save states, nothing. You have to do it all in one sitting. And considering you have enemies placed in cheap spots that are designed to trick you, as well as suicide dives that you have to take, an unmanageable clock, and rough controls, you have no choice but to memorize everything, which means you have to play the holy living out of this game.
And on the box it says 100 plus levels. Like you think that's enough? Wait, what? 1,850 screens? Like what does that even mean? Like you divided the 100 levels by the amount of average-sized television screens it would take to house those levels? What the f*** is wrong with the programmers? Why would you ever want to know that? What, was the Pythagorean theorem too busy for your formulas of figuring out shit nobody wants to know? Stupid assholes.
What the fuck? How would anyone ever know the level starts that way, and why would you start me in front of that thing? Even if I try to kill it, it comes back like a T-1000 from Terminator 2. Oh, no, jump, no, jump, 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 jump. Ah! No! 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 No, 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 no! 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 No, no! 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 No, no! 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 And it only gets harder. You'll deal with spots you can't get out of, jump around blocks that disappear on you, get stuck in death traps, watch a Bobos do the do-si-do, use a hoverboard that you can't control, get tricked by moving platforms, slip off of everything, fight frustrating bosses, deal with cryptic hidden spots, and take on a horrific final marathon that feels next to impossible to complete, only to fight the stupidest looking boss I've ever seen.
I've come too far, you 12-eyed punk! I will kill him! I will kill him! I will kill him! This is the manliest of all platforming games, and if you consider yourself a platforming purist, you gotta go through it. It's like a Klingon rite of passage. It's kind of like when you go into a bar and you see that grizzled guy sitting in the corner with his gross-ass beard, holding that bottle of nasty stuff, and he says to you, "Hey, laddie, take a swig of this. It'll put hair on your chest." Well, this game will put hair on your chest, it'll put hair on your back, it'll put hair on your sister's face. This is the crucifix of gaming, and you have to lug it up on your shoulder, along with all all of gaming sins and drag it from one end of the Genesis library to the other. In other words, holy motherfucker. Good. This one's mine. Throat's happy.
Hi, I'm Pam, and I'm here to talk about retro video games. I put the question of what game I should review next out to Twitter, and two people who, as far as I know, don't know each other, requested the exact same game. It wasn't a game I had at the time, though luckily enough I managed to snag a copy on Bravo last weekend. It's Kid Chameleon. Kid Chameleon was developed by Sega and released for the Genesis in 1992. A new virtual reality arcade game is taking the world by storm, but also taking the kids who fail to beat it. The game's boss, Heavy Metal, has been kidnapping the kids who play and lose, which is all of them, so it's up to the eponymous Kid Chameleon to defeat the game in order to save everyone. It seems the idea of someone saving the world with their incredible video game prowess is a story that just doesn't get old. This game is a platformer, and its unique mechanic is the ability for Kid Chameleon to take on different forms that give him special abilities. There's the samurai, who can defeat enemies with his sword or break through certain floors. The Iron Knight, who has the most health and can scale walls. Maniacs, who, surprise, surprise, throws axes.